Welcome to the first episode of the BreakDown. I'm Michael,
And I'm Austin.
and this has been a real big dream of ours to start our own sports podcast. And we hope y'all enjoy, and just stay tuned for more episodes. So we're gonna jump right into it with the college football playoff rankings coming out last night with Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Notre Dame 3, and Clemson 4. So Austin, any real surprises for you? You agree with it?
Personally, last week when the playoff rankings came out, I had a problem with Clemson being number 4 ahead of Oklahoma. I just feel like Oklahoma, with their win over Ohio State, their win over Oklahoma State this past week, those are two very signature wins, and their loss came to Iowa State. Their one loss came to Iowa State, who is a very good team, and they're ranked.
They've proven that at first it was definitely a bad loss, but they've proven that it's not a bad loss anymore. They've had some signature wins for them, so definitely not a bad loss for Oklahoma. For me, I know a lot of people are gonna, they're gonna say, well, Bama should be 1 because they're Bama, what they've done in the past and everything. But if you really look at it, why Georgia's number 1? It's because look who's number 3, Notre Dame, who Georgia beat earlier in the year. So it only makes sense to have Georgia at number 1 because of that signature win. Alabama, they have some solid wins, but they don't have like a huge dominant win yet. And so to me, I understand the committee's decision with that.
I agree. I think right now Georgia's the best team in the country based on their wins, and it's all going to work itself out. They've already clinched a spot in the SEC championship game coming out of the East Division. Alabama should be clinching here soon. If Auburn loses, they'll clinch, and they beat Mississippi State. So I think that's going to work itself out. But like you said, as of right now, at this point in time, Alabama's only big win was to LSU, and I think Georgia right now has the upper hand with that win over Notre Dame.
I agree. I guess another team, the real question mark, they're one of the 3 big schools to be undefeated right now. Wisconsin. How do you feel? Are they for real? Are they or they should be higher ranked?
I feel like Wisconsin. They don't pass the eye test. They play physical football. They're not an explosive team, but they're undefeated still. They're in the Big Ten. Look, if they go undefeated, they're going to be in the playoff. You can't not put them in the playoff. They're from the Big Ten. They win the Big Ten championship, go undefeated, they're going to be in. The question really comes is if they do lose, does the Big Ten get in at all? And that's, I think, is the real problem here.
I think it just depends on, say they have 1 loss. It just depends on really everybody else. Say Alabama and Georgia go undefeated until they play each other. They have a close game, and let's just say, for argument's sake, Georgia loses. And say they lose by 3 points. And Wisconsin, say they lose to Iowa this week, and still go to the Big Ten championship and still win. Do you put Wisconsin in as the Big Ten champion? Do you put Georgia in, who probably is more talented than them?
If you're going top 4 teams in the country, whether if Georgia has 1 loss, Alabama has 1 loss, you got to put them in. They're the 2 best teams in the country. If that's what you're trying to do with the playoff system, you're trying to do best 4 teams. But I knew they do put an emphasis on conference championship, and that brings back Oklahoma and Clemson, because Notre Dame doesn't, they have 1 loss to Georgia, but, you can argue that they're a top 3 team in the country. And, they don't have a conference championship, so if a Clemson or Oklahoma wins their conference, where do you put them in the conversation with Notre Dame in a 1-loss Alabama or Georgia non-conference?
I'll tell you this, we will have the Big 12 figured out probably this week with Oklahoma and TCU both play each other. Yeah. Oklahoma ranked 5th, TCU ranked 6th, both with only 1 loss. We're definitely going to have the Big 12 figured out this week.
I think a big game this week too to watch is Iowa Wisconsin. Iowa coming off the big win against Ohio State.
The thrashing of Ohio State.
Yeah, it was a very surprising game for me.
I was expecting Ohio State, coming off the big win with Penn State to kind of ride some momentum and maybe kind of refine themselves and win the Big Ten. But
I think Iowa proved that they may be up and coming in the Big Ten. So if Wisconsin pulls off that victory, maybe they'll move up a little bit to like 7-6. TCU may lose. Oklahoma, they're playing each other. So, Wisconsin still has that might be the signature win that they're looking for, top 25 victory.
That's another matchup I feel we have to watch. That's going to have huge implications on the rankings. Is you have Miami versus Notre Dame, 3 versus 7. You have an undefeated Miami team going against a 1-loss Notre Dame team, with the 1 loss only coming to the number 1 team in the nation. Huge implications. How do you see it coming out?
I think Miami. I don't think this is their year. They found a way. They played a lot of close games this year, and they found a way to win them all, undefeated at 8-0. But I think that with the way Notre Dame is playing football right now and the way Miami's played this season, they do need this. Would be the signature win that they need. But I think Notre Dame's gonna come out on top, just being the better all around football team. But don't get me wrong, I think Miami in like next year or 2 years down the line, they're gonna be a really good football team. Mark Richt's got them on the right track.
Oh, Mark Richt absolutely has got them on the right. I mean, he did a outstanding job with Georgia. It just kind of got to the point where it was like a repetition every year. They never really took the next step at Georgia, but he has really just brought the U is back.
Definitely.
He has brought Miami back.
Miami alumni should be proud.
I agree, but I do agree that I think they are just 1 year ahead of schedule. I think next year that's really the year to really watch when he gets more of his guys and the guys he has now develop a little bit more. But Miami is good. I mean, they were solid last year with Mark Richt in his first year, and they're even better this year.
Get another recruiting class in there, maybe.
Exactly, get another recruiting class in, get more talent in. I mean, Miami, they are in the right direction. They are going to be a force here for a good bit now.
So let me ask you a question. And it's coming. You got it, number 18 in the country, UCF. They're undefeated. How do you feel about University of Central Florida?
They have some solid wins, but I mean, you have to ask yourself, are they really one of the top 4 teams in the nation? If they go undefeated, are they honestly one of the top 4 teams in the nation? I don't think so.
I think a lot's got to happen for them to have a shot at the playoffs.
You have to have a lot of teams that have 2 losses for them to get in.
You got to notice what Scott Frost is doing down there in Central Florida. So, 8-0. They have signature wins over Memphis, who beat UCLA early in the season. Another big win over Navy, who had a nice undefeated stretch. Who was
ranked at one point
and
in time.
They were ranked top 25 earlier in the season. Most of their wins have been lopsided, one-sided wins,
mostly,
with the exception of SMU. But it's a conference game, maybe.
Mostly expected wins. Teams they play, if they're this good, you expect them to win.
So.
And they had a game against Georgia Tech. Could have been a signature win, but the game was canceled, sadly. But to me, even if they go undefeated, unless you have a lot of 2-loss teams, I just don't see them getting in because I don't see them as one of the top 4 teams in the country.
Maybe this season, them if they go undefeated and they don't make the playoffs, it's a big program builder for them.
Absolutely. When they had that good year with Blake Bortles.
Yes, exactly. They have a young up and coming coach. Hopefully they can keep him. He's probably gonna be a hot commodity with other coaching jobs such as Florida and maybe Tennessee if their job becomes open here soon. But maybe University of Central Florida can build a program that can contend on the national level.
So now, speaking of Florida, I heard you say Scott Frost, as a potential candidate for them. What happened to Florida? What has been going on? With Florida University?
Really, it goes back to ever since Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer left. They've really, not been able to find their program, and you look back. 2010, the year after they come off a 13-1 season, Urban Meyer's last season, they go 8-5, and then ever since then they had 11-2 season under Will Muschamp. But outside of those, that one season, they've just been downhill, and Joe McElwain just couldn't get anything going. He just couldn't get a momentum going at Florida.
You thought with him being an offensive-minded coach that he really would bring some offensive firepower.
That was their problem too. Their offense just couldn't get anything going. That's why I think he was eventually got let go, just because he's an offensive coach and they just couldn't put points on the board.
Yeah, because when you think about it, as good as they've supposedly as good as his offense is supposed to be, this season they've only scored over 20 points 3 times. All other games, and they've had. You look at the recent losses: 45-16 to Missouri, 42-7 to Georgia. Then they had close games with LSU and Texas A&M. But it's just like where's the offense, man?
Right.
You can't. You got to be able to recruit a quarterback.
And I think their next coach is definitely going to have to be an offensive-minded coach. Some potential candidates for me, look out, maybe for like a Dan Mullen from Mississippi State. I know he has a history at Florida. He was an assistant under Urban Meyer for a couple seasons there. He helped Tim Tebow become Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Scott Frost from UCF. They go undefeated.
Exactly.
And it's perfect because he's already in Florida.
And he can recruit that area.
Recruit him exactly. Recruit in that area. And I'm gonna go with a bold name here. God, do I say it? Lane Kiffin. Does he leave Florida Atlantic after 1 year to take a job like this?
That's an interesting name.
Does Florida even offer him the job? That's the real question.
Here's who I think. I like Dan Mullen. I think he makes too much sense. But a name to watch out is Chip Kelly. Okay, Chip Kelly's the best offensive coach probably in college football, and I know he wants to go back to the NFL, but I just don't see it happening. And I really think if I was Florida, if I was their management and their athletic director, I would really try to go hard after Chip Kelly.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. He definitely would fix the offensive problems, you would think. So I think all those would be good commit. Definitely Chip Kelly would bring out more of an offensive presence to the Florida. So kind of switching gears here, let's who's your Heisman? Season in today, who would your Heisman? Who do you predict to finish as the Heisman winner?
Got a lot of good college football players in the country right now, but for me, the best player on the best team would be Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. The way he's put that team on his back and carried them. I know the earlier win at Ohio State, that was a big win. Then this week, he had 598 passing yards against Oklahoma State in the shootout in Bedlam, and that was a big win. He really showed what he can do. So I really like Baker Mayfield to win the Heisman.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely my Heisman at this point. It was Saquon Barkley for a while, but he's kind of coming off 2 rough weeks here recently.
Yeah,
and I still think if Saquon, say he finishes the rest of the year with some huge games, he definitely could still win it.
I think what hurts Saquon though is that Penn State has lost 2 games, and if you look at it, the Heisman is supposed to you want it to be the best player on the best team.
Yeah, say Oklahoma makes the playoffs,
right,
and Baker's still playing like he is.
Right,
you can't
not give it to him.
Yeah. So, and I mean, you have Bryce Love and Khalil Taylor also, but I just feel Bryce Love, I mean, yes, he's one of the best running backs in the country right now, but just...
He's missing games, too.
He's missing games, and the situation he's in with Stanford's a good team, but they're not a great team like Penn State and Oklahoma are. And Khalil Tate, he's really kind of turned Arizona around, but same kind of situation as Bryce Love. They're a good team, and he makes them way better than they are, but if you compare him to Baker Mayfield, I think Baker Mayfield has
Baker Mayfield's the type of player that, if Oklahoma gets in the playoffs, he can carry them to a national championship.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what you look for me when I'm picking a Heisman. I look for the guy he's the best player in the country, and he's going to be the leader of that team. And Baker Mayfield checks off those boxes.
So same here. I absolutely agree with that.
Either way, I think all these guys are going to play on Sundays. So
yeah. Khalil Tate, I'm not sure about. He's got to prove to me that he can be a passer.
He can be a receiver or a running back, maybe with him.
Yeah, because from a throwing standpoint, he's not a bad thrower, but he's not a throwing quarterback. He can definitely run. The dude can absolutely run.
Yeah, he's a very fast guy.
Yeah, the Pac-12 defense has been struggling this year trying to contain him.
Yeah.
So he definitely can, like you said, I could see him as a receiver, maybe a running back.
Khalil Tate, he's got a couple more years left at Arizona.
Yeah, he has plenty of time to develop.
Look for him to put Arizona in contention here soon, next couple seasons, and maybe he gets a Heisman at some point during that time.
Yeah, maybe late in the I could definitely see him being a Heisman winner. But kind of switching over to the big boys now, NFL. Who is your surprise team right now so far in the NFL?
A lot of teams this year have really stepped up and came alive after last season. It's been an unpredictable NFL season so far. But my biggest surprise team, I got to go to New Orleans Saints. Starting off 0-2, and looking back, if you look at those first 2 games against Minnesota and against New England, the defense was just like it was just another year. Just Saints fans were used to seeing that type of defense.
Yep.
But here in the last, they've won 6 in a row, 6-2, top of the NFC South. And their defense coming alive. Dennis Allen's got them playing well. Marshawn Lattimore, the first-round pick.
Marshawn Lattimore
he's been
phenomenal.
He's been the best cornerback in the league so far.
Definitely, in my mind, defensive rookie of the year,
without a doubt. Without a doubt, you got Cam Jordan playing well. Well, Cam Jordan was always the lead of that defense, but he's playing well. Even
Okafor on the other side, being a complimentary number 2 to him.
And even Kenny Vaccaro, I know he does get lost a couple times during games, but he finds a way to make plays.
He makes plays. He gets turnovers, and if you're one of those guys that gets burnt a lot in coverage, you got to make up for someone.
Right.
He makes up for it in the turnover.
And offensively, you expect the Saints to be explosive offensively every year, but I really like what they're doing this year. Breeze is getting older, and they're not using him like they did in the past. Throwing it 40 times a game. They're really pounding the football. They're running the football. They play action pass. You got Mark Ingram, having a great season. Alvin Kamara, the third-round pick,
has been huge.
I mean, he's been absolutely
Tennessee.
Phenomenal. He's a mismatch problem out of the backfield. He's been playing great, and they're really committed to the run. And when the Saints won the Super Bowl in 2009, their running game was top 10 in the league. So I feel like right now with Drew Brees being the type of player that he is at this point in his career, a running game is what he needs, and they're committed to the run game.
And I think Kamara, the way he's been playing, and Ingram, you already knew what you had in Ingram, they're definitely the reason why Adrian Peterson was traded.
Yes, and because that was good for both sides.
Because the Saints, I feel like they needed to get rid of him because you had to give Kamara more touches and Ingram as well. Because Peterson, I know he wasn't getting a lot of touches while he was here, but the way those two were playing,
right.
You had to give him more touches one way or another. And you've seen what these guys can do when they get more touches. Kamara, he's definitely a contender for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Not saying he's going to win, but he's definitely a contender.
Here's another thing, too, that I like about the Saints. DB's coach, Aaron Glenn, came in, I think it was last season or maybe the year before that. He's really been, our secondary's been young. He's really been putting those guys. You got Ken Crawley, who was undrafted. He's a starter on one side of the field. You got Marshall Lattimore, another young player. Marcus Williams, a young safety. He's a rookie. Von Bell was their draft pick last year. Aaron gave Aaron Glenn a lot of credit. Look for him to get a defensive coordinator job here soon in the next couple seasons. He was a former All-Pro himself. I just want to throw that name out there. I think he's done a great job with that secondary.
Yeah, the Saints as a whole have definitely, like you were saying, nobody really expects them to be where they are. And they have had a phenomenal time. They've taken advantage of a kind of a poor NFC South so far, taking advantage of it with 6-2 leading the division right now.
So, a lot of surprise teams. Who do you think your surprise team so far?
I'm going to go with the Rams.
Los Angeles Rams.
I really did not expect the Rams to have such a turnaround in Sean McVay's first year under the helm. Sean McVay, offensive-minded guy from Washington, really kind of made Kirk Cousins into what he is, along with Gruden. It was kind of a team effort between Gruden and Sean McVay in Washington, making him Kirk Cousins what he is. But my God, I thought Jared Goff was a straight bust after last year. But Sean McVay has completely turned his career around. He's looked phenomenal. Better, way better than last year. I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback. He's not there yet, but he's definitely looked better.
And they're a young football team. Todd Gurley's back. After having a disappointing sophomore season.
This is how I feel about Todd Gurley. Everybody was criticizing him last year. When I was telling everybody that I knew, it's not his fault. Their offensive line was ferocious. It was just terrible. The dude never had any space to run, and then Jared Goff wasn't a great passer, so really out of the receiving game, he wasn't really effective either. So now they have a solid offensive line. Jared Goff is playing well. So now defenses aren't having 10 guys in the box basically to shut down Todd Gurley.
Right.
They have to play back because
Sammy Watkins,
Robert Woods, Connor Kupp, and the slot. Their offense has just completely changed. And the defense.
Wade Phillips
hire was such a great decision by Sean McVay for his defensive coordinator, because you have Sean McVay who's all offensive minded.
And he's 31 years old.
He's 31 years old. He's a young guy. He has no defensive mind at all. You go out there and you can hire yourself a bulldog defense coordinator that's been around the league, who has experience, knows what he's doing, knows how to run a defense, and he'll get the job done. You don't have to bug him, nothing. You just let him do his thing, and he will fix any problems. And they've just been good. Their defense has been good. Their offense has been phenomenal. As you were saying, with Sammy Watkins kind of coming along.
They're leading the division 6-2 out there in the NFC West.
They've had 3 games this year where they've scored over 40 points. That just shows you how much the offense has gotten better.
With the thing I like about the Rams is that they're a young team and they've added some weapons. The more they get weapons around Jared Goff and protect him, the more he's going to be able to be successful. And their defense controls the tempo of the game and gives them a lot of opportunities to score points. So I think they're playing really good complementary football. They might be one of the most complete teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with that. So kind of switching up here, who's your biggest disappointment?
Personally, for me. My biggest disappointment this season has to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Every year they have so much talent. In the last couple seasons, you kind of think that, is this year going to be their year? Or is this, next year going to be their year? Last year they had a good season. They were hovering around 500 to end the season. So a lot of people thought they were going to be back this year with a chip on their shoulder, ready to contend for the NFC South Division title. But I don't know what's going on down there. I know they just shut down Jameis Winston for a couple weeks now. He hasn't been healthy, but they're too talented of a team not to be successful. And you got to think they had the hype of Hard Knocks this year. Maybe they had the Hard Knocks curse. Maybe that might be what it was.
Because they have they have one of the most talented teams in the league.
You got Jameis Winston, quarterback, number 1 overall pick. You got Mike Evans, who, in my opinion, he's a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Deshaun Jackson,
a very good
maybe the best. You could argue he's the best deep threat in the NFL.
Yep.
So they have way too much talent. Doug Martin at running back. They have a good defense. Quan Alexander, Gerald McCoy.
Levante
they added T.J.
David,
Ward,
Brent Grimes. They have talent on defense.
So I really don't know what the problem is. I feel like they lack a little leadership. From their coaching staff, possibly. That the players just don't seem like they're responding to Dirk
Yeah, because I feel like Jameis, you see him, he does everything in his power to be a leader. You look at his pregame stuff, he's the leader.
You saw that on Hard Knocks
field,
when he was a leader.
But, dude, you have to go there and back him on the field.
Yeah.
You're right out here looking like Josh Freeman right now.
Don't bring up that name.
Go be the guy they drafted you to be and lead this team on the field. You have the weapons.
Lead by example.
Lead by example, exactly. And like you said, maybe, it might just be coaching. Maybe these coaches just aren't getting the best out of their players, which that might be the case. Might be time for a coaching change after this year. That might be what it needs to happen to spark this team.
I think they need a young coach to come in there and really turn that franchise around. Too much talent to not be successful.
Way too much talent to be this unsuccessful. But
who's your biggest disappointment this season?
I feel like it has to be the Falcons.
Atlanta Falcons.
Coming off, they won the Super Bowl, and I know they blew the 28-3 lead, which is definitely very disappointing. Be disappointing for anybody. But, coming into this year, you were just looking at the talent on this team.
Keanu Neal, Deion Jones. They added Duke Riley in the draft. You got Vic Beasley.
Grady Jarrett on the D-line. Vic Beasley.
Very talented football team.
Trufant, Alfred. This is
You might have the best 1-2 punch in the backfield on offensive side of the
Freeman
football.
and then even on the outside, you have Julio, who's arguably the best receiver in the league, and you have Mohamed Sue, who's
he's
a
nice
very good number 2, and Taylor Gabriel in the slot. And you have Austin Hooper, who's a developing tight end. They have one of the best, a top 10 offensive line in this league. So, I think
coaching for them, the hire of Steve Sarkisian just hasn't really worked out for them. Play calling has been questionable at times, and I just feel like they haven't been able to get going offensively.
Yeah, for me, I just feel Steve Sarkisian he's proven that he's not fully ready to be an NFL offensive coordinator. Maybe, if they would have brought him in as maybe a quarterback's coach to kind of let him learn how NFL defenses work, he could have made it, because he's even said in press conference that he's trying to adjust to how defenses how defenses move around. They adjust for certain things like college players don't. Well, college players are younger. They do not have mentally they are still developing to learn things, and I think that
still have a lot of season left.
There's still
maybe they can get it.
They're in a different situation in the Bucs because the Bucs are 2-6. Their season, in my opinion, is pretty much over.
And you see the Bucs don't have the leadership too, so I think the Falcons have a lot of veteran leadership. They just got to turn it around, maybe get a couple wins and get a couple wins in a row.
Yeah, because they have 2 big games coming up where they have Dallas this week, Seattle after that. If they can win those 2 games, get to 6-4.
Definitely got to split. You can't if they go.
They can't lose both. They can't lose both. They got to at least get the Dallas game is at home, Seattle's on the road, so at least get the Dallas game.
Play the Saints twice. Saints are leading division, but they play them twice, so they pretty much control their own destiny.
Yeah, still got the Bucs twice, still got the Panthers once. They, without a doubt, still control their destiny.
Right.
They just have to kind of find themselves, get it to because talent-wise, I think overall they are one of the most talented teams in the NFL. They're definitely the most talented team in the NFC South.
I agree with that. I think they're the most talented team in the NFC South. You look at pure talent, they're definitely up there in the NFC South. I think Carolina's number 2, then the Saints, then Tampa Bay. But very disappointing this year for them. I'm sure they're very disappointed. They wish they could have came out. They come out when they started 3-0, so just kind of got to turn it around. Maybe get a couple wins.
There's still time to turn it around. So if you're a Falcons fan, just
hang in there.
Well, hang in there. Don't hit the panic button yet. There's still plenty of season left to figure this out. Steve Sarkisian is still learning, and still, hopefully week by week he just keeps getting better, understanding defenses, and all we can do as Falcons fans is just hope for the best, hope for a fast turnaround.
Yeah, I agree. So kind of switching over, we're going to talk about the NBA here for a minute. Cleveland Cavaliers have been struggling here lately. How do you feel about that situation? You think they're in trouble?
Yes, they are. They've had a rough start. 5-6 is definitely not the start you expected if you were a Cavs fan or just an NBA fan in general. Because from a talent standpoint, roster, from top to bottom, they probably have the most talented roster
They have
in the NBA.
Roster, yeah.
So I feel like 5-6 is definitely it's.
Do you think they're going to turn around?
I think they're going to turn around. I am not worried whatsoever. I feel like with them, offense isn't the problem. It's just a matter you got to try harder on defense. They'll show a little bit more effort. So I think come playoff time, they will be fine.
Get Isaiah Thomas
They have
back.
too many veterans that have been there and done that to struggle in the playoffs.
I think they'll be fine, but a team I think you should watch out for is I really like the Washington Wizards. I think that this is gonna be their year to take another step. They're my prediction to be in the finals this year.
Really, that is
kind of a bold
huge,
prediction,
yes,
but
very bold.
I like the way they're playing right now. You got Otto Porter. They gave a big contract to. It was kind of a questionable re-sign in the offseason, but. He's been having one of the best stretches of his career early this season. If he can keep it up, and you got John Wall, one of the best point guards in the league, Bradley Beal, good shooting guard. I feel like if they can keep it up, keep Otto Porter being a contributor to that team, might have a little big three brewing up in Washington. So I like the Washington Wizards.
For me, I feel the Cavs still find a way to get to the finals. I know they, we were just saying, they're kind of a slow start, but to me, too much talent, too many guys that have been there, done that. I can't see LeBron. I mean, they've 7 straight finals. I can't see LeBron not making it 8. Too much talent. Wade's been there, done that. Kevin Love's, with LeBron's been there, done that. I mean, Derrick Rose is
they do have very talented roster.
You got to think too. Wait till Isaiah Thomas gets back. Once he comes, he was the main guy in that Kyrie trade. Once Isaiah comes back, I think their team is completely better.
Right.
Absolutely, it's going to be a better team.
Speaking of trades, Eric Bledsoe was announced yesterday. He got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks for Greg Monroe and a 2018 first-round pick. How do you feel? Do you feel like he makes the Bucks a contender, or
not a contender this year? He makes them a better team this year, but I feel they are a next-year team because if you look at it this way, Jabari needs to get healthy. He'll be back this year, so as a Bucks fan, he's going to be back. And, Giannis is one of the best players in the league. Brogdon keeps developing. He's Rookie of the Year last year. He's only getting better, it seems like, this year.
I think the key for them is if Bledsoe, if he can come to Milwaukee and he can be motivated again, they could be a dangerous team and come playoff time, maybe win a first round series and maybe push a good team like the Wizards or the Boston Celtics to push them to 7 or something like that. If he's motivated, I feel like they can be a very good team, but it all depends on him.
I agree, yeah. He just needs to be motivated, and they'll definitely be in the playoffs. So they'll be a top 4 seed, in my opinion, in the East. And like I said, maybe next year, a little maybe Big 4, fear the deer.
Fear the deer.
With Giannis, a healthy Jabari, a motivated Bledsoe, and a Brogdon who keeps developing. Might be a little Big 4, not huge Big 4, not 4 superstars, but
right.
A nice little Big 4. So definitely watch out for the Bucks. They're on the rise. So I guess, let's say the Cavs, let's just say they don't find themselves. Who replaces them?
Washington Wizards. You have the Boston Celtics playing good basketball right now. Kyrie looking like a leader. I can see them going to the finals. They're young guys, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum playing well. I actually think the Boston Celtics would be the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. I actually see them and the Washington Wizards battling out in the Western Conference Final. The Eastern Conference Finals, pardon me, to make a trip to the finals.
Yeah, for me though, I feel like if there was, say the Cavs were not figured out, if I had to pick another team in the East to make the finals, I think it's the Cavs still make the finals. But if I had to pick one, I would just say the Celtics. People were questioning Kyrie's leadership skills. Could he really be a leader? And I think he's proven it. 9 straight wins. The Celtics are 9-2 right now.
They're on fire.
And Kyrie has led this team.
I think he's playing the best basketball he's played in his career.
Overall basketball, yes, and he looks like he's having fun.
He's being a facilitator. Yes. He's being a scorer. He's doing everything they ask him to do. He's being a vocal leader on the floor.
They're first in the East right now, so obviously it is working in Boston right now. So definitely for me, I feel like it's without a doubt the Celtics.
How about the Pelicans, man? How you feel about them? Got a win last night, 6-5. You think Alvin Gentry is the guy? Is he the right coach for them?
I don't think he's the right coach for them. I feel like they need more of a defensive kind of pound, and then on offense kind of pound it in the paint. But they're 6-5. Gentry is in a situation where they're playing good basketball. They're above 500 for the first time in a while. So I think it's not time to call it on Gentry.
This team is very talented, and you have the best 2 skilled big man, not just big man. If you consider they might be the best, 2 of the best skilled players in the league.
They're definitely top 10 players in the league.
And skill wise, they can shoot it, they can pass it, they can rebound, they block shots. DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis. Gotta get Drew Holiday going, man. I've been kind of disappointed in him this season. I know he has it in him though, and if he can get going, he could be the scorer that we need him to be. it could be a Pelicans be a dangerous team come playoff time. Getting Rajon Rondo back is definitely going to help them out. And I feel, this team should be talented enough to win games, but I feel like they're not going to reach their full potential under Gentry. I like Gentry, but his style of play doesn't really fit this team's makeup right now.
No, absolutely not, because he fits a Warriors type
shooters on the outside perimeter,
and that's just not the play. Yes, you have two bigs that can shoot. But, I felt like Monty Williams would have been perfect for this team.
Well, look, you have these two big – you have Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. Nobody else in the league can match up with them. I feel like the Pelicans should be trying to operate from the post more often and trying to pound the ball in the paint instead of trying to, push the tempo and stuff like that, maybe slow it down and just try to control the game in the paint and control it with the big guys. Maybe like a Memphis Grizzlies style of play when they had Lionel Hollins as their coach a couple of seasons ago with Zach Randolph and Marcus Gasol. I feel like if the Pelicans could operate in that type of offensive system, I think they can really be successful.
Yeah, I agree with that. And kind of going back to what we were saying, I do feel like this team will be better when Rondo comes back, because then Drew, I feel,
can really play his role
when he goes to shoot, because he's not your typical point guard. He is a solid point guard. But, he just really hasn't lived up to what they really wanted him to be.
We need him to be
season.
a scorer.
The Pelicans need him to be a scorer if they want to be successful. Because you look at their roster, there really isn't
that's what
another guy that could really step up other than him.
I like the guys that they have. Etuan Moore is playing good basketball.
Etuan Moore is solid.
But he's a solid role player.
He's a good role player.
But we need
Ian Clark's a shooter off the bench.
Right. Pelicans need a scorer that can operate on the perimeter. Like Drew Holiday was expected to do this season. And I think right now he's trying to be more of a facilitator and not being as aggressive as he should be.
I feel if he gets more aggressive and starts getting buckets, he'll be better. And then Rondo, when he gets back, I think with him leading the offense and, being able to facilitate it, I think Drew will get more open shots. And, Boogie and AD have already been playing well. I think that they'll be doing the same when Rondo gets back, if not better.
If the Pelicans make the playoffs, it's going to be a very, very interesting team to watch.
They could be a mismatch
because they mismatch with pretty much every team.
Yeah, there is no other team in this league that has two bigs like they do.
Nobody can match up with the Pelicans.
No. It's just a matter of who's going to be that third guy every night for the Pelicans.
Right.
AD and Boogie are going to be there, but is it going to be Drew? Is it going to be Etuan? Ian Clark. You need Drew to be the consistent third guy, so
look for them
somebody else doesn't have to be.
Look for the Pelicans to make a trade coming soon.
Get a scorer for the bench.
Off the bench, yeah. I think that would help them a lot in the long run. That's something that we should watch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a scorer off the bench would be huge for them, and because like I said, Etuan, he's a solid, but you want him more to be kind of like your fifth option kind of guy. So if they could get with obviously AD and Boogie being the 1 and 2, Drew being the 3. If they could get a solid number 4 scorer, I think the Pelicans can definitely make a push in the playoffs.
They could be a dangerous team in the playoffs, just from matchup purposes alone. So kind of to end the show here. We're gonna do a thing here on the breakdown every week. We're gonna have a stud of the week or performance of the week. Each of us are gonna pick a guy that we think had the best performance, whether it be basketball or college football or the NFL. And so, Michael, who's your stud of the week?
It's got to be Baker Mayfield. 598 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, so 6 total touchdowns against Oklahoma State.
Big win.
Big, huge win. My goodness, what a performance.
What I like about Baker Mayfield, he, in big games, he comes alive.
Yes.
You look at the Ohio State game, the Oklahoma State game, he's a baller.
Yes, he is not afraid
of the moment.
He embraces it and he attacks it, and
that's why
almost
he's
600 passing yards. That's why exactly. Like we were talking earlier in the show. That's why he's my Heisman. He shows up for the big games. He doesn't back down from a challenge, and he's really carrying Oklahoma to be a great team. So, with those numbers, that is why he is my stud of the week. And I must ask Austin, who is your stud of the week?
I'm gonna go outside the box here. I watched the Michigan State-Penn State game on Saturday. It was a great game. Penn State coming off of a huge loss to Ohio State, looking to rebound, and Michigan State, last season not really playing their best football. This year they kind of, had some signature wins. They're back on the rise. Their wide receiver Felton Davis III, he's my stud of the week, man. He just, he had 12 catches, 181 yards, and a touchdown. He did everything you asked for. Talk about a big game, showing up in a big game. His quarterback, had 400 yards passing. He was really needed in this game to play well. They got a signature win for their program against Penn State, and I love the way he played in that game.
Yeah, because you think they're great numbers, but they're not flashy. Would you think still? You got to think who they were playing. Penn State. I mean, that was such a huge win. And for him to get 12 catches, I mean, against
That's
a Penn
huge.
State team.
And they're known for defense, and he got 12 catches.
Yeah, so I just feel that was, I agree that he had a great week. And we're just going to see if Michigan State kind of ride it out the rest of the way and finish with a solid season. So, but we would like to thank everybody that listened to our first episode of Breakdown. We really appreciate it. Please give us feedback to let us know and ask us any questions. Anything you want us to talk about on our next show.
Hopefully y'all enjoyed listening to us. We'd like to hear feedback from y'all. Let us know how we did, things that we can do better, what you like, what you didn't like, and follow us on Twitter and watch our videos.
All right, thank you. Good night, America.